Have you ever noticed strawberries growing upward instead of spreading along the ground and wondered if it was just a trick for social media? Most gardeners assume strawberries can only grow horizontally, sending runners across the soil and gradually taking over entire beds. But there's a lesser known reality. Strawberries can be trained to grow vertically, and when done correctly, they can produce more fruit in less space while staying cleaner, healthier, and more productive than traditional methods. Climbing strawberries are not a gimmick. They are simply the result of understanding how strawberry plants behave naturally and using that behavior in a smarter way. By guiding runners upward instead of letting them spread across the ground, you improve airflow, reduce disease, keep fruit cleaner, and extend your harvest period. In this guide, you'll learn exactly how to grow strawberries vertically, step by step, using simple materials and proven techniques. Whether you're working with a backyard, a balcony, or containers, this method can transform even small spaces into productive strawberry walls. Once you experience this approach, it completely changes how you see strawberry growing. 1. Understand what climbing strawberries. Actually, our strawberries are not true climbing plants like grapes, beans, or cucumbers, and that distinction matters. They don't twist around supports or attach themselves naturally. Instead, they rely on a completely different growth strategy: runners. Runners are long, flexible stems that extend outward from the main plant, searching for new places to root and expand. In natural conditions, this allows strawberries to spread quickly, covering large areas of soil. Along each runner are small nodes, and each of these nodes has the ability to develop into a new, independent plant. Left alone, these runners grow horizontally, forming dense ground cover. Vertical growing doesn't fight this behavior, it redirects it. When you introduce a support structure such as a trellis, frame, or vertical tower, you simply give the runners a new direction. Instead of spreading across the ground, they grow upward. The plant itself isn't aware that it's climbing, it's just continuing its natural expansion pattern. This is why vertical strawberries work so effectively. You're not forcing the plant into something unnatural, you're working with its biology. This shift in understanding is essential. Many gardeners struggle with vertical strawberries because they try to treat them like climbing vines. But strawberries don't need to climb, they need to spread. Your role is simply to guide that spreading into vertical space. Once you understand this principle, the entire system becomes much easier to manage. 2. Choose the right strawberry varieties for vertical growing. Selecting the right variety is the foundation of success. Even with the best structure, soil, and care, the wrong type of strawberry will limit your results. Not all varieties are suited for continuous growth, and vertical systems require plants that can grow, spread, and produce fruit at the same time. The best options are everbearing and day-neutral strawberries. Everbearing strawberries produce fruit in multiple cycles throughout the season. Instead of focusing on one large harvest, they alternate between leaf growth, runner production, flowering, and fruiting. This makes them ideal for vertical systems where continuous production is more valuable than a single harvest. Day-neutral strawberries take this even further. They are not dependent on day length, which means they can continue flowering and producing fruit whenever conditions are favorable. As long as temperatures remain moderate, they will keep producing berries while also sending out runners. This makes them one of the best choices for vertical growing, especially in containers, balconies, and greenhouse environments. June-bearing strawberries behave differently. They are programmed to produce one large harvest per year, usually in late spring or early summer. After that, they shift their energy toward vegetative growth, producing leaves and runners instead of fruit. While they can still grow vertically, they are not ideal if your goal is continuous harvest throughout the season. When choosing varieties, look for plants described as vigorous runner producers, continuous or extended fruiting, suitable for containers or small spaces. These traits indicate a balanced growth pattern, strong enough to support vertical expansion, while still producing flowers and fruit consistently. The right variety doesn't just improve growth, it reduces stress, simplifies maintenance, and significantly increases overall yield. With the right genetics, vertical strawberry growing stops being an experiment and becomes a reliable, repeatable system. Once you start with the right plants, the question is no longer whether strawberries can grow upward. It's how high you want them to go. 3. Choose and build a strong vertical support system. Vertical strawberries rely completely on the structure you provide. Unlike true climbers, they won't latch on or wrap themselves around supports. They depend on guidance. This means your structure doesn't have to be complex, but it must be stable, open, and designed with purpose. The most effective vertical systems share one essential feature. They allow runners to naturally grow upward while keeping plants healthy and easy to manage. Some excellent structure options include vertical trellises made from wood or metal wire grids or cattle panels, ladder-style wooden frames, fences with open spacing, stackable strawberry towers, balcony railings or privacy screens, greenhouse walls or internal frames. You don't need expensive materials. Many gardeners successfully build structures using reclaimed wood, wire fencing, or even old shelves. What matters most is functionality, not appearance. A well-designed structure must provide three key elements. First, airflow. Strawberries are highly prone to fungal diseases when air circulation is poor. Vertical growing already places plants closer together, so airflow becomes even more important. Open designs allow wind to move through the leaves and flowers, helping them dry quickly after watering or rain. Second, accessibility. You need to easily reach every part of the plant. As runners grow, you'll guide, tie, trim, and sometimes root them into new spaces. If the structure is too tight or rigid, maintenance becomes difficult, and neglected runners quickly turn into tangled, unproductive growth. Third, light exposure. Every level of your structure should receive sunlight. Avoid solid panels or surfaces that block light from reaching lower plants. Open frameworks like grids, wire panels, or slatted wood allow sunlight to reach all levels, ensuring even growth and fruit production from top to bottom. Height also plays a major role. Even a relatively small structure, around 1 to 1.5 meters tall, can significantly increase yield compared to traditional ground planting. Vertical growth creates additional planting space without expanding the footprint. As runners climb and root at higher levels, you effectively stack multiple plants within the same area. Taller systems can increase productivity even further, but they must be stable. The structure should be strong enough to support the combined weight of plants, fruit, and moisture. Always secure it firmly into the ground or attach it to a solid surface like a wall or railing. A good structure does more than support plants. It controls airflow, light distribution, plant health, and long-term productivity. 4. Prepare the base plants and root zone properly. Everything depends on the base. No matter how well designed your vertical system is, it will fail if the base plants are weak. Every runner, flower, and fruit depends on the strength of the root system. If the roots struggle, the entire system above them suffers. Whether you're planting in the ground, raised beds, or containers, soil quality is essential. Strawberries need loose, well-aerated soil. Excellent drainage, high organic content, consistent moisture without excess water. Dense or compacted soil restricts root growth, limits nutrient uptake, and holds too much moisture. In vertical systems, poor drainage becomes even more problematic. Gravity pulls excess water downward, which can suffocate the base roots while upper levels dry out too quickly. Spacing at the base is just as important. Each plant needs room to grow and breathe. Keep a distance of about 30 to 45 centimeters between plants, even if it feels like too much space at first. Overcrowding leads to reduced airflow, higher risk of disease. Smaller fruit, weaker runner production. Since vertical systems depend on strong runner growth, any stress at the base directly limits the entire system. Mulching is essential for success. Apply a thick layer of straw, pine needles, or shredded leaves around each plant. Mulch helps by regulating soil temperature, retaining moisture, preventing soil from splashing onto leaves, reducing weed competition. The condition of the root zone directly affects flowering and fruit production. If roots are exposed to heat or drought, the plant reduces reproduction. But when roots remain cool and evenly moist, the plant responds with steady flowering and strong runner growth. Think of the base plant as the engine of your vertical system. Strong roots push energy upward. Weak roots limit everything above them. When the root zone is prepared correctly, strawberries don't just survive vertically. They grow upward with strength, multiply rapidly, and transform your structure into a dense, productive wall of fruit. 5. Position for maximum sunlight. When strawberries are grown vertically, sunlight stops being just a helpful factor. It becomes the main force that determines success. In vertical systems, plants are layered on top of each other, which naturally creates uneven light distribution. If the structure is placed incorrectly, the top plants may thrive while the lower ones weaken, or the entire system may perform below its potential. Strawberries require at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight daily to maintain consistent flowering and fruiting. More light almost always leads to better yields, stronger runner development, and sweeter, more flavorful berries. The best placement allows sunlight to reach the structure from different angles throughout the day. South-facing or southwest-facing positions are typically ideal, especially in moderate climates. Morning sunlight is especially important because it dries moisture quickly, reducing the risk of disease. Afternoon sunlight plays a key role in sugar production, directly influencing the taste and quality of the fruit. Avoid placing vertical systems in areas such as right against solid walls that block sunlight for part of the day, tight corners, or narrow passages where light reaches only one side. Under tree canopies or roof overhangs. Whenever possible, leave space behind the structure so sunlight can reach both the front and sides. Even a small amount of light from behind can improve productivity on the lower levels. Poor lighting conditions lead to clear and predictable issues. Reduced flower production, thin, weak runners, small, pale, less flavorful fruit. Plants stretching toward light instead of focusing on fruiting. Strong, consistent light produces the opposite effect. Plants stay compact, runners grow thicker, flowering increases, and berries develop deeper color and higher sugar content. Light isn't just energy, it's a signal. It tells strawberries when to grow, when to bloom, and how much fruit they can sustain. A properly positioned vertical system doesn't just grow upward, it produces evenly from the bottom all the way to the top. 6. Allow runners to grow. Don't remove them too early. This step requires a shift in thinking, especially for gardeners used to traditional strawberry care. In ground-growing systems, removing runners is standard practice. It helps focus the plant's energy on fruit production rather than spreading. But vertical growing follows a completely different logic. Here, runners are not a problem. They are the key to the entire system. Cutting runners too early is one of the fastest ways to ruin a vertical strawberry setup. Runners are how strawberries expand. They allow the plant to explore space and create new growth points. In a climbing system, they are essential for vertical development, layered growth, and increased yield within a limited area. Without runners, there is no vertical expansion. When runners first begin to appear, allow them to grow freely. Do not trim them. Let them extend naturally until they reach your support structure. At this stage, the plant is investing energy into exploration, finding where it can expand and establish new growth. If runners are removed too soon, vertical development stops. The plant wastes energy trying to produce new runners repeatedly. Overall productivity decreases. Once the runners become longer and stronger, they can be guided and managed. But before they reach the structure, patience is essential. The goal is not to let runners grow randomly everywhere. The goal is to guide them with purpose, so they climb, expand, and build a productive vertical system. 7. Guide runners. Upward. Carefully. Once the runners reach your support structure, your role shifts, from simply observing to actively guiding their growth. Strawberry runners are flexible, but they are also fragile. They respond much better to gentle, gradual direction rather than force. Pulling, twisting, or sharply bending them can cause stress and damage the internal tissues responsible for transporting water and nutrients. Use soft materials when securing them, such as garden twine, fabric strips, soft plant ties, special clips made for vines. Avoid using thin wire, zip ties, or anything that can tighten over time. As runners grow thicker, tight bindings can cut into the stem, restricting nutrient flow, or even killing the runner entirely. Always tie loosely. The goal is to support the runner, not to hold it rigidly in place. Leave enough space for natural movement, growth, and slight swaying. This movement actually strengthens the plant and improves airflow around it. Guide the runners upward gradually, following the natural lines of your structure. If a runner resists a certain direction, don't force it. Instead, adjust its position slowly over several days. Strawberries adapt easily when given time. Think of this process as training, not controlling. When runners are guided properly, nodes develop more evenly. New plants establish more successfully, stress on the plant is minimized. Vertical growth becomes stable and predictable. Gentle guidance creates a system that works with the plant's natural behavior, turning runners into the foundation of a strong, productive vertical strawberry wall. 8. Decide how each runner will be used. Every runner presents an opportunity, and you decide how to use it. Option 1. Route the runners into containers or pockets attached to your structure. You can attach small pots, fabric pockets, mesh baskets, or planter boxes at different heights along the frame. Fill them with soil, and when a runner reaches one of these spots, gently press the node onto the surface. Within a few days, it will begin forming roots. Once rooted, that new plant becomes a permanent part of your vertical system, adding another layer of growth and production. Option 2. Allow the runners to hang freely. In vertical walls or tower setups, runners can simply cascade downward while still producing flowers and fruit. Hanging strawberries stay cleaner, dry faster after rain, and are less likely to attract pests. Many experienced growers combine both approaches, rooting some runners to build structure while letting others hang freely for quicker fruit production. 9. Manage watering. Carefully in vertical systems. Watering in vertical strawberry systems works very differently compared to traditional ground planting. The main reason is simple. Gravity constantly pulls water downward. As a result, the lower root zone often stays moist, while the upper levels, especially runner pockets, dry out much faster. This uneven distribution of moisture is one of the most common reasons vertical strawberry setups fail when watering isn't adjusted properly. The objective is not just to water the base, but to maintain balanced moisture across every level where roots are growing. Water slowly and deeply so it has time to soak into the soil, rather than draining straight through. Focus your attention on the main root zone at the base of the structure. Any runners that have been rooted into containers, pockets, or fabric planters. Upper planting areas usually require more frequent checks than the base. Use a simple touch test. If the soil feels dry about a couple of centimeters below the surface, it's time to water. Avoid watering from above whenever possible. Wet leaves and flowers create ideal conditions for fungal diseases like gray mold and powdery mildew. In vertical systems, moisture can linger on foliage longer due to uneven airflow, increasing this risk. Drip irrigation works best because it delivers water slowly and directly to the root zone. If you're watering manually, pour gently at soil level instead of spraying from above. Consistency is more important than quantity. Strawberries don't respond well to cycles of drought followed by heavy watering. Stable moisture supports continuous flowering, healthy runner growth, and evenly developing fruit. 10. Mulch the base to reduce stress. Mulch is not just helpful in vertical strawberry systems, it's essential. Growing vertically exposes plants to greater temperature fluctuations. The soil at the base heats up quickly during the day and cools down just as fast at night. These shifts put stress on the roots, and stressed roots lead to fewer flowers and smaller fruit. Apply a thick layer of organic mulch around the base plants. Suitable materials include straw, pine needles, shredded leaves, or dried grass clippings. Mulch provides several benefits at the same time. It stabilizes soil temperature, reduces water loss through evaporation, protects shallow strawberry roots, limits weed growth that competes for nutrients, maintains loose, healthy soil structure. Most importantly, mulch keeps the root zone stable and balanced. When roots remain cool and evenly moist, the plant continues to grow, flower, and produce fruit consistently. But when roots overheat or dry out, the plant shifts into survival mode, and fruit production slows or stops. A properly mulched base acts as the foundation of the entire vertical system, supporting, protecting, and sustaining everything growing above it. When watering and mulching are done correctly, vertical strawberries stop struggling and begin thriving, producing cleaner fruit, stronger runners, and longer harvests with less effort on your part.